merchant from Pakistan to the U.S. to recruit hitmen to carry out alleged plot, according to the detention memo.
What was his last name?
Merchant. Asif Merchant.
Ah. Mr. Merchant. Ali's pussy.
I want their leader brought here. I want him brought to me. I want the revolution crushed.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mad Mamluks. My name is Sim. Along with me is my trusty Sheikh Amir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome to the show. And we have our lovely Harry from
Lovely Harry.
lovely Harry. I was going to say
Assalamu
something
alaikum, my ninjas. How y'all
race-related,
doing?
but
Greetings
tensions
all
are
the way
high.
from
Yeah,
the other side of the world.
Yeah,
I was
man.
going to say something race related with
Indonesian?
lovely white Harry, something like that. But
Harry Carey.
I
Call
just-
Harry Carey.
That's right.
tensions are high right now
Yeah.
among the white community and Muslims,
Yeah.
of which luckily we have both represented on this show.
All in one.
Wow. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you for joining. You got a lot going on. Sheikh, what are your thoughts about what happened over the weekend?
There's a lot that happened over the weekend. Which one are you talking
We're
about?
talking about the riots.
Yeah,
UK.
the riots in UK are just a big cluster F, pardon my language. It was just a whole bunch of shenanigans, and a lot of people ran with it. And
Yeah.
surprisingly, the UK government was like, no, this is actually fake. But it was too late by then, and it's still too late. It's still too late. You know,
Yeah.
it was supposed to be a Muslim illegal immigrant that was rumored to kill or stab
Yeah.
these girls.
Let's give a backdrop. Harry, do you know the backdrop of the story?
Yeah,
How-
I think that guy was actually Roma.
Yeah, no, but how did it all start?
I don't know exactly, but
Well, but remember the Taylor
what I've
Swift
heard
kids.
is that
The kids.
what I heard is
What-
the kids of this Roma community got taken by Child Protective Services. I don't know what they call it in the UK. In Texas, they call it CPS. But basically, these Roma were accused of not taking good care of their kids or being abusive or whatever. And then the Roma community in London, either London or Birmingham, I can't remember. Either way, they threw a big friggin' hissy fit and started rioting and protesting. And actually, it was Muslim community leaders that told them, please stop what you're doing. I don't know if you guys remember that footage from early on. But by then, the damage was done. And interestingly, this is all happening around the time that Keir Starmer new government, the new liberal government, says, hey, we're not going to send weapons to Israel anymore. And then Tommy Robinson, you know, who we all know as the Mossad agent provocateur, just jumps in and says, hey, look, these Muslims are so bad. Let's go start a riot.
Yeah, so this all started first from the kids who got stabbed in the Taylor Swift event, right? A lot of people don't know still yet, at least on the state side.
Swifties.
What
That
happened?
too, yeah.
These
Yeah.
little girls got stabbed by a, I think it was Rwandan?
I think Rwandan.
Yeah, Rwandan migrant. He wasn't an illegal
His
migrant.
parents are migrants. He was actually from Wales.
Right.
Yeah, he's
But
actually from the UK. Born
But
in the
he
UK.
was a citizen.
He's a citizen. He's born in the UK.
And
Oh, my God.
that led to those three children passing away. They were killed, and tensions were high in the UK. And Tommy Robinson, or there are some kind of rumors, or something was happening in the background. A swell of misinformation was being passed around through WhatsApp chats. I think these white nationalists have
Telegram.
like these. You know, our Desi moms, our Indian Pakistani moms have these WhatsApp groups where they pass around this disinformation.
But this is more
Like
organized.
they send like all kinds of herbal remedies for
COVID.
like COVID and everything, and you mix something with something, and all of a sudden, you know, you're supposed to be healed. And I think this is what they have in their groups, like in the white nationalist groups,
But this is a lot more organized.
where they're like, oh, you know, I heard it was a Muslim. Like, oh, really?
Muslim immigrant. Yeah, Muslim
He's
migrant.
connected to the Mossad too.
Illegal.
Yeah, and then they got all these like theories going around And eventually,
Mosques were damaged and burned, and broken windows, and
yeah.
beating people, throwing bricks, injuries, machetes. Police couldn't handle it, and the UK government actually came out and said, "Hey, this is actually not true. It's a British citizen that did these stabbings."
Normally, they don't release this information, but in this case, because there was so much, I think it was like a public threat, that they had to kind of break the rules and say, "Hey, this is not a Muslim that killed the kids."
But look how powerful lies are, though. Look, lies. No matter how much you clarify, once it's in and you feed it into people's tensions, which are actually fake. All of these feelings are actually artificial. These aren't real feelings. These are engineered feelings that are given to people about a fake and a figment that became their true imagination. And they're actually going out and killing these Muslims, attempting to. I sent you that video of this dude who just saw a Muslim couple in a gas station in the UK, and he went in the back of his truck, grabbed a chainsaw, and is running after this man and woman. Right? They get in the car, and I mean, this is how crazy lies can be. And the world is actually thriving on a pack of lies right now, thanks to our good old friends in Israel. They have a lot to do with a lot of the lies that are circulating in this world right now. But like you mentioned, Harry, it's the timing is perfect, and there's no such thing as a coincidence, brother. There's no such thing as a coincidence. These Muslims are backwards.
Yeah,
might as well just blame it all on them. And
I've been trying to explain this to Trump supporters for years, that this would eventually happen to them, and this is exactly what happened to Trump supporters on J6. I mean, the whole build up with I forget, there was a similar group chat or story going around about Donald Trump, and he's got this secret shadow American Patriot group running in the background. Do you know what I'm talking about, Sim?
Yeah. So there was,
and then
I can't remember the
from
term.
J6.
Same
thing.
But my message right from the January 6th or January 7th, I can't remember. We had an episode right after the whole thing. I said, this is not an insurrection as the left was trying to make it out to be. This is not a coup d'etat that's happening with Trump and his supporters. This is like effectively a protest. Yeah. You can't take over the government with a few people. Yeah, they may be able to break into the White House. They may be able to break into the Capitol, but you haven't taken over the government.
You haven't taken over the government.
You need the military. You need everyone on your side to take over the government. Yeah. And that's just not how. It's just misinformation that's coming from the left, where they're saying it's insurrection. It's like, it's not insurrection.
If a bunch of people jump over the fence, like you said, to the White House, even though it hasn't happened, a bunch of people went into the White House and started raiding the White House, it doesn't mean that was a coup. It just means a bunch of people got over the fence. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's
right.
All that happened.
So
Nancy Pelosi's gavel. Oh
no. So let's play this little clip that Chef was talking about here. Is this the one?
Yes, sir. I think
where there was someone's chasing someone with a clip with a chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
What's he saying? He's chasing Muslims?
Yeah, a couple. Is that the one I sent you?
It's such an ineffective tool.
No, hold on. That's not the one I sent you.
Oh, that is. Yeah, he's chasing people with a chainsaw. Look at that crazy Mo.
No,
look at that guy.
The Dome one. I sent you the one from Dome. Let me resend it to you.
Plain clothes in the room.
So it is. Oh my God! Look at all these people.
Okay, so this is the arrest happening.
I've never seen anything like that.
No.
I sent one to your personal account too. Personal WhatsApp. Another one.
CID, everything. Wow. They're looking for the chainsaw that the guy.
Okay, so we're this is. Are you saying there's a completely different video?
The completely different video, yeah. The one that I just sent to you on your.
Hang on. Yeah, I can't find it. But let me see. Wait, maybe we. Here we go.
Yep.
Is there audio to this?
Yeah.
Oh, 1 second.
Just to bring out the chainsaw. This guy's nuts. But there's been multiple incidences that have been happening like this, not just from an individual, but multiple people. And this dude looking at me, just chasing them, bro. This chainsaw. It's husband and wife together. Gas station, petrol station. I'm sorry, petrol station.
Petrol station.
Just missed him.
Goodness.
That's nuts.
What
bro.
a nut, man! I wish something like that happened to me just alone, because like when you have a chainsaw, it's such a horrible weapon to kill someone with. It's like one couple misses, you're exhausted. Yeah. You're huffing and puffing. Yeah. That thing is heavy.
That dude was already sprinting too, but that's the. And I don't think. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen next week or two? It doesn't seem like things are dying down.
So, our friend. Did you hear about my new friend?
No.
We'll get to it. Andrew Tate. Oh, he got in some hot water because he ended up sharing this little meme during all of this. See, this is the problem with Twitter. Twitter rewards like outrageous crap.
Yeah.
You start putting out stuff, people. It rewards you. You get followers. You get like all this thing. I'm sure all these people all over UK, they're all tuned into Twitter and what's going on, what people are saying, and all these people are egging him on. Like, yeah, fight for your rights, and they don't. He claims he does. Obviously, thinking that he's Muslim. I'm sure that he doesn't know that they're actually going after Muslims, and they're rioting through Muslim neighborhoods. So he shares this meme of this some Indian guy in a boat. It looked pretty funny though when you first saw it. 1 second.
I didn't see any evidence that Andrew Tate was actually promoting violence.
He wasn't promoting violence.
I just see that he was sympathizing with why this is happening, why white people in the UK are upset.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty reasonable. I mean, the UK has been dealing with serious illegal immigration. The problem is not your Pakistani uncle who came to the UK illegally in the 1970s. The problem is illegals, mostly from Africa, and as Andrew Tate wisely pointed out, mostly also Christian too, not just Muslim, who come in illegally and do all kinds of ratchet things.
Hey, are you looking at the screen, bro?
Be upset about that.
Hey, Harrison, are you looking at the screen, bro? Look what's
yes, I am. I saw that. It's hilarious. It looks like.
So look, the UK brothers, they're not going to find that funny.
With a knife and a lifeboat.
Now, for us in America, when we see that, we laugh. Yeah. And I think Andrew was trying to be funny. I thought he was trying to be funny.
Yeah.
And I don't know if like.
It was the wrong timing, obviously.
It was the wrong time.
Wrong time. And I like how Muhammad Hijab responded to him, and I like the input that you had.
Yeah.
When you were responding to that, look, if we can just backtrack a little bit, Tim, what goes into? I just want everyone to think. Look, I'm not making excuses for him. I think he shouldn't have done it. I think it was stupid, but there's a lot of things that he's working with, obviously, especially as a new Muslim. But what goes into putting in a tweet? I see things. If I'm going to be on Twitter or on X, no one's around me for me to bounce off ideas. Hey, is this a good idea to post this in front of the world? No one's there. I just do it because I'm in my thoughts, and I post it. And then, like you said, then you get people getting hits on it, especially when it's this humorous and comical, right? And there's a lot of like you mentioned in your comments to Andrew Tate, that converts as you being married to a revert or a convert, is that there's a lot of stuff that they have to deal with. There's a lot of ideas that they have to deal with, and a lot of paradigm shifts that they have to deal with that somebody who's born Muslim doesn't have to actually go through.
Yeah.
And in that process of those worldviews being shifted drastically, like what's between the heaven and the earth, that drastic shift, you're going to expect them to do ridiculous things compared to what a born Muslim would do, with all the other cultures and everything there. So you have to understand, look, he actually understood what he did. I think that's what he understood.
So it took me...
Hijab talked to him.
Muhammad Hijab talked to him, and, other, mashallah, influential people like yours truly. No, I'm just joking. I just put out a general thing, right? I because people were just like murdering him all over Twitter. I'm like, hold on, okay, guys, time out.
Always.
All right,
always.
Time out. we need to put things into perspective. You guys know, I don't have any special love for Andrew or any other major Muslim influencer. I don't like, oh, please let me help you. I'm gonna, it's something I saw and I'm like, hang on, let's put some stuff in the perspective. I'm not looking to be Andrew's buddy and friend or whatever. He's his own man. He's got his own objectives, and we have ours, right? So I just like put something out there saying, there's he's someone who is Muslim, okay? First, and while he was under pressure by the Romanian authorities, he was under investigation stuff. He came out in support of Gaza, right? He
didn't have to.
He didn't have to. Like, everyone would have made an excuse like, "Oh, you know what? It's kind of a rough situation right now.
You get a pass, yeah.
We'll make a pass for you." But he, that gave me a lot of respect for him in that when he did that. Put aside all of other stuff, I'm sure there's so much stuff that he says. Sometimes he's trolling, sometimes he's not. I don't know. I can't parse everything out. But as far as when it matters, these are the moments when it matters. And I've seen so many other influential Muslim people largely quiet, and
yep.
They didn't really stick their neck out like they should have. On the other hand,
worse, full on Madkali and just pretending it doesn't exist.
Full Madkali. I just figured out what he said. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
But look, dude, the problem with people like Andrew Tate is,
and then he also gave, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds. I don't know the exact number, but it was a lot of money to Africa. And that brother Hassan Shibli, who's been on our show multiple times, he's actually personally taken that money from Andrew and distributed it all across these African villages and stuff. I don't know specifically which country, but you can check with Hassan if you want to get to know the details of that. But
the deets.
He's been involved in so much of that. Like, he doesn't, obviously he's half black. Like, why would he want, first of all, harm upon Muslims, second on black people or colored individuals, right?
Right. Colored? Did you say colored?
Are we supposed to say people of color? I can't keep track. Because for a while my kids keep me in touch with this stuff. Like, Baba, you can say this stuff now. You can't say this stuff. You can't say African American, but you can say black now. But then
you can't say African American.
I don't know. It's complicated. I just look. There's
it sucks, bro.
I can't keep track. I usually just say black people.
Yeah.
But in Andrew's case, he's not like totally black. You can't really like. In some communities, he might look Mexican.
Yeah.
Right.
He can pass. Yeah.
But yeah, so he's obviously he doesn't want hurt and pain on any. He's not that type of a person. He'll say stupid stuff. I'm sure. That's part of his charisma and the attraction that comes with the package.
The shock value, yeah.
But truth be told, when you study him, and especially when you saw him on his interview with Piers Morgan, the guy is sharp.
Yeah,
he is sharp. He knows how to communicate effectively, and he knows how to roll with the punches. And the guy certainly knows how to navigate some of these difficult areas that a lot of Muslim people don't. And he did a much better job than many other Muslims on many of these Gaza-related positions, knowing with the little knowledge he had about it.
Yeah.
And he skewered Piers Morgan about how Morgan was wrong about the Gaza genocide, and he pretty much got Morgan to admit that he was wrong.
Yeah.
It was insane. So
and you can't expect him, bro. Like, after he becomes Muslim, look, we have this issue where somebody becomes a Muslim in the community, especially in America. They prop him up. Obviously, he's like a trophy in the community, and they have him start doing khutbahs at such an early time. He's still surrounded by lots of Muslims, and he stumbles, and then people are like, "Oh, how could he do that?" Like, well, you did this to him, bro. Like, you got to give him a few years to study the deen. You got to just chill, man. You know what I'm saying? And let him be a part of the community. And
I mean, there is some responsibility on him too.
Right? Yeah, of course.
He needs to pull back. He needs to turn off Twitter. He spends way too much time on Twitter. All right, Twitter's like a video game. For what I've learned over the past week is Twitter is a video game for a lot of these Twitter celebrities. I'm not talking about people who are already popular and became popular on Twitter. Those people were already celebrities. I'm talking about Twitter celebrities specifically, people who became popular or well known through Twitter. And
it's a full-time job.
It's a full-time. These guys are dedicated, and they're spending a lot of time, but they make a lot of money too. This is like, their thing. So when this is all happening, I see a lot of people, that we thought, because over the past 10 months, Gaza's happening, and all these, people who we're thinking conservative people like Nick Fuentes, Jake Shields and stuff, they're egging on a lot of these rioters. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like, you're not like talking about like making a distinction between migrants and immigrants, or illegal migrants and immigrants. You're just kind of like giving them a license to go do what they need to. So what you learn from that is, I think they knew what was going on, but they needed to capitalize off of that audience, that specific conservative audience, even though they may hate Muslims, the people who are rioting and the people who are kind of egging on the hate towards Muslims. They need to capitalize on that audience, right? They need to capture followers. So what they do is they start kind of making these ambiguous statements where they're supporting. These are all mostly like Tommy Robinson's people, by the way. And it was someone who Andrew Tate has been in discussions with, and he clarifies like, hey, Tommy Robinson's not my friend. I'm having discussions with him.
Right.
But he gets blamed for being associated with Tommy Robinson. For those who don't know, Tommy Robinson is a Zionist supporting conservative, whereas these other people who are, like we just talked about, Candace Owens, Jake Shields, they're all like anti-Zionist, right? Now, Candace was quiet throughout this whole thing. Just to be clear, she didn't make any statement about these riots, but a lot of these other people were kind of egging them on, like, hey, take back your country and stuff like that. And I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, you got to make, you have a lot of followers, and you got to make some distinctions here. You can't just be like, this is real life. This is people's properties. These are like real things are happening as a result of your communication to the world. And you guys are just acting like, I got to capitalize off my followers, off of this event that's happening. This incredible tragedy that befell many businesses whose businesses were ruined all across the UK. Properties were damaged, mosques, etc. None of these people are like saying anything. Hey, like, stop the violence. Like, don't remember when like BLM was happening? Yeah. Everyone came out and said, oh, look at those savages. They're destroying property. They don't know how to behave. This is how they are on the left, Antifa this, and they're terrorists that. None of this is happening. I'm like, what? How come you guys are going to pull back a little bit and say, hey, stop the destruction, stop the mayhem? Like, this is people's lives. These are people's properties. It's not how you protest against. You're not going against the deep state or the establishment. You're destroying normal people's lives. None of this was happening. Right. They're all like, oh, yes, we got to capitalize. We're taking back our country. Like, first of all, many of you guys aren't even in the UK, and you're like Jake Shields and them. You don't live in the UK. Like, what the hell? You're in freaking in UK in New York or something, or New Jersey, and you're like talking about this. Like, what world is this? Nick Fuentes, etc. They're all like chiming in. Nick Fuentes, for those who don't know, he's a different type of anti-Zionist conservative. He was primarily became popular during the initial Trump campaign, right? I think that's when
That's correct. That's when he first started.
Yeah, he started getting prominent along with Kanye. Kanye brought Nick Fuentes to this big fundraising event or something that Trump was hosting, and
that's where he kind of blew up.
Yeah,
right?
He kind of got well known, but he started throwing in jabs at Zionists and Jews, basically.
Marjorie Taylor Greene let him in the door and used to think that the world of him, and now after the whole thing blew up where he really, really got known for hating on Israel, Marjorie Taylor Greene has since disavowed him, and so did the Trump campaign.
Yeah. So this is Nick Fuentes. For those who don't know, let's see if there's a video here. But yeah, the Trump and everyone is kind of
geez, him and Alex Jones.
Yeah, so he's
he's been on Alex Jones many times.
I didn't know that.
So Fuentes was banned for a long time because of his
on YouTube
and other platforms as well, I think. But
Alex Jones has kind of come around on Zionism.
Yeah, he did. But then he's also like posting like anti-immigrant pictures where there's just Muslims who are talking or giving lectures in an audience and saying like, kind of inflammatory stuff. I can't remember exactly.
He's an amalgam of weird ideas.
It's just weird. Like, wait, you can't even make sense of it.
Insight though, and future insight of like political stuff.
Yeah,
crazy to the T accuracy of future events that are going to occur, but also this amalgam of weird ideas, and
I know
immigration stuff.
We know there's going to be people who say, there's with conspiracy theories, you could throw a whole bunch on the wall, some things will stick. There's that argument. We're not naive to that, and we know Alex will say a whole lot of stuff, and some stuff he has. The thing is, when a lot of people have confidence in you, they feed you information and they trust you.
Yeah.
With information
he
that
has
they
a lot of
wouldn't
inside
otherwise.
Men in a lot of places. Yeah.
His own analysis on stuff, maybe dog poop, right? But
why is it weird? Hold on a second. I hate to interrupt, but why is it strange that somebody is anti-Zionist, but they also don't want radical Islamic extremists coming in the door too?
Well, I don't know.
Why is that inconsistent?
I don't think that's inconsistent. I think Alex's the video that he was commenting on wasn't to do with like extremism, and I could be wrong, but
no, he's about America first. He's very much America first.
Yeah,
and Islamic extremism is just going to obviously destroy the fabric of American society, of how he wants a true democracy to be. So anything that's going to affect, whether it's illegal immigration, any type of extremism, especially Islamic extremism, he has obviously a vendetta against Islam and Sharia law, because obviously that's how he learned. And that's what he doesn't obviously know exactly what Sharia law is. So he has that part in him too. But he also has the part in him that, asks lots of questions, like when it came to September 11th and all these other issues that came up with wars. And he was obviously in the forefront of those too. So that's why I said he's a very interesting mixture.
So look over here. This is one of his things. Here we go. So he writes here, what a devastating reality. So one of these conservative far right accounts wrote, London with its 2,000-year rich history and 170 museums now looks like a Middle Eastern city. This is a sad reality. And then Alex retweets it saying, what a devastating reality.
Well, what do you think is going to happen when you colonize all those countries? Oh, it's so sad.
Catch up with
So sad. Look, what do you think is going to happen when you colonize countries and you bring those people over to work for you? Obviously, they're going to be filled inside of your country. Did you prevent them from coming in?
Well, look, they have a problem with immigration. That's fine.
Yeah.
If you're inviting too many people in your country, there's a process for that.
They've been working with that, dealing with that for a long time.
You got to sort that out. Don't blame like the people who are already there and who are already citizens. And many times in the UK, it's much different than the US. So many of them are like third, fourth generation citizens.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
They've been there before,
way before,
for a
long
time.
Much closer. So it was much closer than to migrate. But look, this is the problem now. You have factions that are always working within governments to cause these tensions for certain policies and for certain agendas to manifest in their favor, right? It's always been the case. It still is the case and always will be, right? Whenever you have human beings that are part of a government and they make up parties from a government, there's obviously going to be infighting that happens in order for them to pass certain policy. That's what, look, the Democrats and Republicans, they're almost the same thing. They're not that different, but on the face value, they just show a different face. That's all it is, right?
That's very true. And it's also, the problem is not necessarily the immigrants themselves, but I tell people like you guys that are immigrants, or second generation, the powers that be, shall we say, like using you guys as a sort of reverse colonialism. Just as they send us overseas to y'all's countries, they send you guys here. They bring y'all here. And what they say is, look, see, these are better citizens than you. These are better people than you. And then they will tell you. And I'm not saying that you guys are like this, but I have seen a consistent attitude because they snuggle up to the left-wing establishment generally. Generally, that's where immigrants go, both in the UK and US. What ends up happening is that they will then say, oh, you're so much better than those rednecks over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And it just reminds me of all the propaganda that I was fed, that we were fed about Iraqis and Afghans and Syrians, those Hajis over there. Redneck and Haji are really just the same word. It's about making you look like something silly or camel jockey or but it's the same sort of thing, like silly,
but how
caveman sort of caricature.
Yeah, but how silly is it?
That's what I tell people is that it's not that I hate immigrants. It's that immigrants are getting used. We do need a certain amount of immigrants for sure, especially with declining birth rates, and that's just what happens when any country modernizes, industrializes. It happens in the Muslim world too. Saudi Arabia has a lower birth rate than Iraq and Yemen right now. But the problem is not the immigrants themselves. The problem is that immigrants are being used just as we were used to go over to y'all's places. Yeah. I'm not saying that you guys are coming in all causing trouble, gun-toting, rolling stuff up, but
I love this guy.
You're being used and pitted against the majority population. And it's classic divide and conquer strategy. Think about every single colonial project in the Middle East and Africa. Almost always, what did they do? India and Pakistan too. They always come in, and they always put the minority in charge and pit the minority against the majority.
Yep.
Always like clockwork. This is no different.
And since you were mentioning Afghanistan and the Taliban, how ridiculous and crazy is that America accidentally sends $239 million to the Taliban on accident.
Oh, on accident.
The Hajis, the rednecks of the Middle East, they sent them 239. What are they going to do with all that money? It was an accident. How does that happen?
I don't know, man. Sometimes the government accidentally sends me money, and I don't ever tell them. I'm just like, okay, thanks. I spend it as soon as I get it. I put it into some sort of alternative asset they can't track.
Well, there you go,
immediately.
Man. I'll
don't ask questions, dude.
From amongst all those people that accidentally get $200 million by the government.
Oh man, I would buy Caribbean citizenship and renounce my American citizenship. You'd never see me again.
Taliban may have gotten millions in U.S. aid due to faulty vetting. Inspector General says the U.S. State Department could not prove it complied with counterterrorism vetting requirements on nearly $300 million in awards to Afghani programs, according to an Inspector General report last month.
Slow clap, everybody. Slow clap.
Wow.
Well,
skills.
And that's what's just been reported. We don't know how many times this happened in multiple countries, and how many times it happened to Taliban.
Oh, there's so much money missing from Iraq.
Yeah,
like
$8 billion.
How much did the soldiers pocket? How much did all the Harry
JSOC?
Why don't you speak about this?
Yes.
Which one?
How much money did people get to, soldiers, I'm sure.
Man, I didn't get to see any of that money. I went there in 2008 in Iraq. I didn't get to have any fun. I wasn't.
You didn't get to pay off any officials? Like, hey,
no, I didn't
get
to gang rape prisoners behind a barn somewhere. I didn't get to murder anybody. I didn't get to shoot. I only got to fire warning shots. That was boring. My deployment was very, very boring, except for getting blown up one time. No, it's that we're not allowed to have fun anymore. All that stuff you see in the movies is from early 2003, and most units weren't like that. And most of the things were the soldiers that did that. They were mostly going after stuff in Saddam's palaces. When they came into Saddam's palaces and took the gold. So it was just Saddam, who was a complete and total thief, and then he's getting a thief that got killed and murdered by other thieves and murderers. It was just a dog eat dog.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like most American soldiers were just going into random Iraqi poor people's houses and stealing all their all their jewelry.
No, I think he was talking about the money that was lost, that was reported, that went missing in Iraq.
That. Okay, so first of all, let's back it up. This is not the first time the government auditors have magically lost money in wartime. So I don't know if you guys remember this. Couple days before 9/11, I think, Donald Rumsfeld got up and said, "Hey, we're having a accounting problem. We're missing like $500 billion." I remember that. Yeah, that was pretty nuts.
And then that wing in the Pentagon
like
was
$2 trillion are missing.
The Pentagon wing that was keeping those accounting records just gets blown up during 9/11.
Mm-hmm. How random!
How amazing!
What was the wing where all the cocaine was found in? Which wing was that?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know there was a cocaine wing. How do you know about the shit?
You don't know
every wing. That's how they stay up.
I'm being serious.
You know,
remember like 2 years ago?
In America.
There was a cocaine wing in the Pentagon.
Yeah,
are you serious?
Harry, do you remember that they got busted with cocaine?
I'm sure there's cocaine, drugs, prostitutes, all kinds of nonsense going on all over the Pentagon. I mean, if I worked,
it was said that it was Joe Biden, but
24/7, 365.
Sure, because
I'd be using up that $300 coffee pod and enjoying every minute of it.
The thing is, Sheikh follows alternative news too.
No,
so
this
I'm
is
like,
alternative.
I'm always
this is
like doubting.
mainstream.
I don't know what.
I'm gonna look it up for you right now, bro, because now I'm tripping.
It's not alternative. This is not alternative. Like Donald Rumsfeld really did get up and say that. They really are.
No. I know about that. I'm talking about like what Sheikh was saying, that there's a cocaine wing in the Pentagon.
No, there was a wing which
There was a wing.
See, I contra.
Well, it's not necessarily a cocaine wing. It's just that that people are doing all kinds of crazy stuff in their offices after hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes during business hours. It's the Pentagon. It's a bunch of drunk, horny, high
in the Capitol they found
alpha males
the U.S.
fighting each other.
Yeah, it says the U.S. Capitol found cocaine.
That was 2024, and then July 5th found in the White House. That
was Hunter Biden, bro. Everyone knows about Hunter Biden's exploits, right? But anyway,
that's why I'm saying there's no cocaine wing. It's just kind of cocaine everywhere. Let's see.
But when you were deployed, like this is completely just random. I just thought of this, but the opium plantations and crops that many American soldiers had to monitor for the trafficking, legal trafficking. How many soldiers actually were, utilizing those drugs and in the process?
I was never in Afghanistan, so I don't know.
Got it.
That would be a Richard McKinney question, because I'm definitely sure he's seen a poppy field or two in his life. Yeah, I mean, there's always some people doing that, but the United States Army, for all of its faults, has pretty good discipline. So there's all kinds of shenanigans that happens.
Naturally, yeah.
But it's pretty low key. It's pretty backdoors, and part of the reason is because we have rule of law with the UCMJ, and there's a bunch of nerds that never see combat a day in their life, and they just love to throw UCMJ at people and ruin people's careers. So the Army, has all kinds of nonsense going on, but it's very DNL. It's very down and low in many cases. People having sex with each other, fraternizing, people drinking, people partying, but it's DNL, Yeah.
Never,
I never saw people doing drugs like that, but I saw people, having their wives and girlfriends send them alcohol through Listerine bottles by emptying a bottle of Listerine, putting vodka in it, and then putting food dye, and then sending that.
Interesting.
And that's what I did to hide my vodka from people sometimes. Barracks, I would use Listerine bottles and put food dye in it. Worked like a charm. Nobody ever bothered to taste it.
Had
who would want to put
swish and gargle in the morning to clean your teeth?
Yeah. It's great for cleaning teeth. Great for cleaning antiseptic wounds. All that stuff. It's an antiseptic too. You can bathe with it if you want to.
just back to the discussion for a sec. There's Jake Shields, for example, right? He's a MMA fighter who turned into an America First person. Now, he was also one of these people, during that time where he's been big proponent of Palestine and Gaza and letting people know and getting people aware of it. And everyone, I'm sure he won, received many, many Muslim followers in that process. All of a sudden starts talking stuff about immigration and migrants and stuff like that. And saying that, it's here we go.
But don't you think a lot of that is reflective, before you continue, don't you think a lot of that is reflective of their inability to change what's happening with illegal immigration in America, and they see it happening somewhere else, so they're kind of projecting that over there?
Here's the thing. Let's look at it. Here he's retweeting a post by an America First news company. As the white proportion of the UK dropped by nearly 10% in 20 years, the grape rates have soared over 400% in that same period.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So, and then he's saying it's not racist to want to have a discussion as to why grape is up 400%. Okay, now, how am I supposed to interpret that? Wait, you are trying to first. This is I commented right below it, and I said, this is a classic correlation does not imply causation fallacy. I can make another argument as the white proportion of the UK dropped by 10% in 20 years, the rate of incarceration has also declined. And I actually looked that up. The rate of incarceration in the UK has declined over the period of 20 years. Point. So how do you make sense of that? Just because
I have an answer for you.
Yeah.
I have two answers for you, actually.
Well,
maybe just one. We'll see. But I have an answer for that. The first one is that as the white population has declined, because let's face it, governments around the world, especially in the Western developed world, are looking at demographic numbers and they're saying, oh my God, what are we going to do? How are we going to pay for these pensions? How are we going to maintain the infrastructure when there's so few native-born white people? And so that's part of why they like illegal immigration filling in the gaps. That's what's saying here in the United States. That's part of why they like illegal immigration. They need that cheap labor to keep things going. They need a certain number of people to pay into the pension system, the Social Security, whatever have you. But as the non-native illegal immigration population has increased, so too have the number of rapes and murders. Now, when you say, well, why hasn't the rate of incarceration stayed the same or increased? That's the rub. That's part of why people are so upset, because there's many cases in the UK and the United States where illegal immigrants doing naughty things are not going to jail.
No.
And part of the reason for that,
it doesn't. That's just an example I just used. I just used the. I'm not saying that you can parse that out however you want. I'm just saying you have to prove that there were immigrants responsible for those grapes over the period of 20 years. You have to make that connection. You can't just say that as white people were declining, that the mango production in our country went up. Because then these. Even then, that would make a little bit more sense because Indians and so we come from mango countries, so that would make a little bit more sense. Mango production went up. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. They're brown and they make they
love mangoes.
Graping is not part of our culture.
It's not about brown, and I think Andrew Tate answered this question very well as a brown person himself when he said, "Look, it's not about Christianity or Islam. It's not about brown skin." But it is about developed, safe countries versus third world countries that are war-torn and have a lot of chaos and don't have control of their populations and have a lot of nonsense. So people from Kuwait and Dubai and Saudi Arabia are not coming to the UK and committing violent crime for the most part. You're more likely to get people, military-aged men from Syria, coming illegally to the UK and causing drama. Similarly, it's not, middle-class Mexican people who come to the United States legally who have family on both sides of the border who are causing the trouble. In fact, it's mostly people from, well, until recently, thanks to the new president, places like El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua that are involved in the drug trade or the human smuggling trade, where a lot of young ladies get smuggled in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's those people. And that's why even Mexico doesn't like illegal immigration coming through their border. That's why most Mexicans don't like these people from Central America coming through Mexico illegally. Because Mexico, as it's developed and improved economically, I won't say they don't have problems. Mexico's got plenty of problems. But Mexico, they're not the ones illegally emigrating to the United States anymore, by and large. It's the Central American countries below them.
Basically, poor people are more likely to commit crimes, violent offenses, rapes, etc. Right? And that's there's data that supports
poor
that.
people in chaos. Yes, poor people in a chaotic situation.
Poverty,
yes.
chaos, crime. Yes,
You can make that claim, and you can make that argument without sounding like a racist. Which a lot of these guys do. They're sending out these dog whistles to racists, blatant racists. We're not talking about like people who are like hiding it. Some of these people I talked to over the past weekend, under people under threads and stuff, and if people want to see my comments and replies, they can check out my Twitter. But I was having a lot of back and forth between these people. I was just really wanting to get down because they're all operating under like fake names and stuff like that, and no one actually puts themselves out there. And I'm just like trying to understand them, like, hey, and you've benefited so much. Like, what's your issue? Like, I don't hate you because you're white. I don't hate you because of slavery. I don't hate you because of however many millions of Native Americans that were killed all across North and South America. Yeah. I don't hate you. That's their crime. But I do realize that, we're in because they were saying like, hey, why don't you go back to your country if you don't like it here, if you don't like our history. I'm like, I'm not saying I don't like this country. I'm not saying I'm feeling, ashamed or embarrassed about anything. I'm just saying that, hey, there's something that happened in history, and we as Americans are very privileged in a very fortunate situation where we have all these resources at our disposal, and we can make the world a better place, and we can leave it a little bit better than where we found it. And there's some level of.
America,
so I was just kind of talking about that.
You criticize America, and then you're not hating America, but you're criticizing it. Now,
the history.
If I take your criticism,
the history,
you're not hating America. You don't hate America.
No,
you don't.
Absolutely not.
No, but you criticize it, and then some people can interpret that as, man, why does this guy hate America so much? So conversely, there are people who bring up these issues about illegal immigration, and at first it sounds like they're kind of racist. But then when you start talking in more and more detail, and X is not necessarily the best platform, what Jake said is not untrue. If you just look at that one tweet, yeah, it does sound a little bit racist. But when you get into more detail, you realize actually it's not racist at all. It's like when we criticize Israel and Zionism and certain things in the Talmud because we got all these people getting raped in Palestine in Israeli prisons. It's like, oh, so you're an anti-Semite. Well, no, it's just I'm pointing out the fact that there are certain passages in the Talmud that are a little bit problematic, and we have a significant number of crazy people in Israel that support this kind of behavior, and it's actually happening in real time on camera. That doesn't mean I hate all the Jews. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's a particular problem with this situation because of things that are in the Talmud and the attitudes that are very prevalent in certain parts of Israeli society. Right?
Yeah.
So that's not anti-Semitism.
Absolutely
That's just calling a spade a spade. But it could sound like anti-Semitism. Could. Although I hate using the term anti-Semitism because most Ashkenazi Jews are basically white people with big noses like me. I mean, we're already shadow banned. Might as well say it. Whatever. That's what it is.
Let's move on to other subjects.
Just another thing that's just troubling. Like, you 1 weekend goes by, a whole week goes by, and you see like all these little turbulences everywhere. Even like Bangladesh.
Yeah, Bangladesh, man, they got rid of
civil war now, and now
what a turn of events.
Like, all from a peaceful protest of college students.
Students, for those who are completely out of the loop, there were students who were protesting in Bangladesh. Now, we decided not to cover it because we just thought it was like some protests that were happening, and and they were like, it's just like internal political conflict, doesn't really have much to do with Muslims, even though they're Muslims. But everyone knows Sheikh Hasina, the leader of Bangladesh, is a ruthless tyrant, and we're like, I didn't receive any information about there being a component of Islam having to do with this. Let's just talk about something else. Now, we didn't know about all the deaths and stuff surrounding it. There was a lot of like filtering that was happening. Like, not many people outside of Bangladesh were even like finding out about what is actually happening. I found out much later about how many people died and stuff. So apparently they brutally cracked down on these protests. So these protests happened because Sheikh Hasina and her regime gives government positions to people who are families from the original revolution, or against Pakistan. They broke away from Pakistan, and they have these beautiful government positions that are the best jobs you can get in the country, and they would give these positions to the people who fought in those revolutions, or their families. Right? You have to be a descendant or something of those families, and they get those positions. So these students are like, hey, well, what are we studying for? We're working hard. There should be a meritocracy where people who is most qualified for this position should be eligible for those jobs. So these protests started happening, and they started brutally cracking down on them. And before you know it, the whole country hates the government and the military and everyone. And Sheikh Hasina flees to India.
Yeah, she's staying in India.
She were her proxy. They were. She seems like they were her agent. She was her. She was their agent, and
the puppet of India.
She's now hiding over there.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Bangladesh, man. That's just incredible. Really good news, but it's just one tentacle though of the arm. You have to realize, like, in order to make change, you have to make societal change. You have to make changes within the army. Yeah. Just like Pakistan, these institutions, these countries are effectively juntas all across the Middle East and in India, in Pakistan and in Bangladesh. These are countries that are ruled by the military. The military just lets everyone pretend like it's a democracy, but when push comes to shove, when they think about why all these military schools, prestigious schools like West Point and stuff, have so many people coming from Muslim countries and studying there. Yeah. Think about that. Why would that happen? Because the United States wants the Muslim world to have a very strong military? No. These countries are enforcing policies that the America wants, especially when it comes to foreign policy and stuff. You can rule whatever you want internally and stuff. They don't care much about that. But when it comes to their relations with Russia, for example, how Imran Khan went to Russia to get funds and increased relations when America's pissed off at Russia and saying that, hey, we're pretty much going to be cutting Russia off from everything. Why the hell is this guy going to Russia? When I saw that, when Imran Khan did that, he's landing in Russia, I'm like, what is he doing? Are you a complete amateur? You don't know your country's politics? Like, why would you do that? They control your military, don't you know? So that later on, like, I found out, or not me, but The Intercept found out, Jeremy Scahill, Glenn Greenwald. Is it Glenn Greenwald? Murtaza Hussain and the new guy, Ryan Grimm. Those two, they broke the story. on the Intercept, where military personnel from the United States were giving orders, sending cables to Pakistani military to rein in Imran Khan and get him out of position, get him out of power.
Whoa.
Incredible. Like, I was like, wow, this is like proof. You can't get any better proof that your government is completely compromised by foreign governments. It's incredible. Like, you don't find proof like that. It just doesn't happen. Someone leaked it.
Yeah.
They were able to validate the signatures by leasing documents by that military. It was like some brigadier general. I can't remember his name, but they validated his signature with what public records had on leases and properties that he had signed on, and they made sure that this was his signature.
Wow.
So it wasn't like made up, like a made up document. So now Pakistan is, fast forward to now, this was a year ago. So now they broke another story. They broke off from the Intercept, Murtaza Hussain and Ryan Grimm. They formed a site called Drop Site. And they released this new thing where the Pakistani government has their army sitting down, or many people, officers and stuff, who are literally working on computers, spreading disinformation, trying to shut down or trying to take away people's confidence in Murtaza Hussain or Ryan Grimm or anyone who is talking, who is diminishing the Pakistani government's influence, right?
Wow.
So it's insane where we've gotten to, and of course it's such a huge black eye to Pakistan that I know many of the people who are elites or who are well educated in Pakistan already know a lot of the stuff, but the average person does not.
Yeah, and the proof is rarely out there.
It's not.
Everybody knows kind of, but they don't see it in writing.
Right, and because I was telling one of my Pakistani friends, and he's like, "Oh, wow, we all know this already." I'm like, "You know, I know it. The regular people don't know this stuff." Yeah. And as this stuff keeps coming out and starts trickling to the public, you guys, the government can't contain all this information. That's damning and incriminating, and it's going to bring down the whole charade. It's insane.
It is. And you can't control it. Look, man, you promote information, you promote technology. The more security you have to have of all these cables and all this information, it's so difficult. You can't keep track of everything. Yeah. How does this stuff leak? Bro?
No,
because there's so much.
The government's upset because modern technology has just pulled the genie out of the bottle and it's never going back. They're going to try. They're going to put barrier here. They're going to stop something here. They're going to shut
propaganda
this one website down.
Yeah.
They're going to do shadow ban this over there. But it's, they can't get all of us. I would argue that, and I get some flack sometimes because I'm very pro Second Amendment, pro gun rights. I think everybody should have a machine gun in their garage if they want one. But the reality is having control on the information in the era of fifth generational warfare is more important than having a gun. It's more important than weapons. I mean, the era of fifth generation is all about the mass continuous flow of information. Whoever controls that narrative controls the battlefield in the era of fifth generational warfare, more so than in previous wars. More so, because in the past, information didn't travel quickly, like instantaneously. So even in World War II, which was modern, people would get information weeks and months later.
Yeah,
through propaganda films. So in the era of fifth generational warfare, control of the flow of information is everything. And this is a real sticker shock to it's a real shock to the establishment. They really have no way or ability to control it. So that's why they have to do these covert, sneaky things with fake chat groups. I see it on X all the time. I always have fake Israeli spam accounts, that IDF Zionist spam accounts that just say the most awful things to me in the comment section.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm 50% sure you're the same person saying the same thing 5 different ways with 5 different fake accounts.
Yeah. Did you guys hear about
Iran? Oh, sorry.
Well, no,
I thought that's what you were going to say.
That's a very good segue, Sheikh.
Thank you. I do that sometimes. Very rarely.
Lioness Troll Farms stepmommy says, "Yep, yeah, you're right,
So-
stepmommy. That's correct."
Yeah. Iran is kind of like Mort. They shows up when they want, to the show.
It's kind of like a board. So funny.
I don't know how else to describe Iran.
This is awesome.
They're taking their time to retaliate.
Family's over.
They've shown incredible footage of their attack. Hang on one second. Let me show it up.
I'm still trying to decode what's happening with them. Like, what are they thinking? It's so. You know the funny thing on all this is, they're also very sneaky because they have everybody.
Here we go. It started, boys.
I have a theory about that.
ينسد ظلمكم تريد مشرد عليكم الباب ينسد ظلمكم تريد مشرد لا مفر.
Okay.
Pretty valid propaganda.
Yes, great song.
Great song. Another great song. Good production.
Slaps.
So, what is going on?
That's
bro?
not actually an attack. That's computer graphics.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled. They didn't attack anyone yet.
I have a theory.
Go ahead.
About why Iran is withholding. Okay, so when the last time they attacked Israel directly, we know they gave the U.S., Jordan, Egypt, they gave everybody in the region a lot of headway. And the reason they gave it a lot of headway is because they were not intending to destroy Israel at that point. It was a display where they proved to Israel that despite all of your technology and all of your assistance from the United States, we can still reach out and touch you. That's what the previous shindigadezzle a few weeks ago was. And what the Iranians did is they didn't set Tel Aviv on fire, but they did reach out and touch very sensitive items on major air bases around Tel Aviv. And it was internally for the Israelis, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe they just touched that. How did they get through that? And then the demoralization for the Israelis as they realize that the Iranians can beat their Iron Dome with rockets that are a fraction of the cost. The Israelis, we in particular, have spent billions of dollars propping up this failing, now obsolete, really. It's been shown that the Iron Dome is a farce. So and I said this on my monologue, or I said this on X recently, I suspect that what's happening right now is that Iran has been getting so many diplomats come to them, please don't attack Israel, please moderate your response. And they're like, no, we're going to do something. And so you see more and more and more breaking news that diplomats are leaving Israel, foreign countries are pulling their entourage out. Other countries are stopping flights to Israel. Ben Gurion Airport is a ghost town right now. And then also, they are pulling their citizens out because I suspect, and Israel seems to suspect this, that the Iranians actually are really going to do something pretty massive this time. Much more massive than what they did. They just reached out and touched like a nose, like a punch like that last time. I suspect they're going to do a lot more, and they're probably allowing the other countries some time to get their people out. Because why would Iran want to be at loggerheads with Turkey, for example? There's a bunch of Turks in Lebanon who are going to get hit. Iran wants to let those people get out. But they don't want to accidentally be blamed or accidentally hit other people's citizens or diplomats. So I think Iran is letting people have a chance to leave.
Now, I have a hunch. I just want to get your take on this, but why many people say that when they took out their main general, Qasem Soleimani, there was actually no real retaliation. And, the embassy or consulate bombing that happened a few months ago, no real ramifications. Why now? Is it that that's not analogous because it happened so many times now? that they have to retaliate and they're going to, or is it true that do people have a point where it's like they're just going to posture, they're going to do some things for optics here and there, but they're not really going to do much? How do you respond to somebody that says that?
Well, they're definitely going to do more than they did. I think they'll probably do more than they did last time. But because this is a game of risk mitigation and gradually escalating violence, there's like you want escalation management. And Scott Ritter talks a lot about this. Why hasn't Hassan Nasrallah over in Hezbollah, over in Lebanon, thrown everything he's got at Tel Aviv?
Yeah.
Well, because escalation management. And Iran, by doing this, looks like the adults in the room. I mean, just 2 years ago, most people would have seen Israel as the normal, proper, Western, democratic, secular, sane, rational adults in the room who are just defending themselves. And now Iran looks like the adults in the room, looks sane, looks stable, and it's Israel that looks like a freaking maniac, because they are. Technically Iran is a theocracy, and technically Israel is a secular democracy. Now, please tell me, who looks more like a crazy fanatical theocracy right now? It's definitely Israel, because of who's running the show. The inmates are running the asylum. So all this does, it's a slow, steady death by 1,000 paper cuts. Okay? They get hit a little bit. People keep turning on them, which means the Israeli economy keeps grinding to a halt. Their Iron Dome keeps getting depleted. And right now, Israel is running low on ammo after 10 months of dealing with Hamas and Hezbollah, both in terms of their regular munitions for the regular army and in terms of their Iron Dome systems. They're running low. They have to spend billions and billions of dollars more than the Iranians do to get stuff. Companies are leaving Israel. People are turning on Israel. The Israeli stock exchange is like completely dead. Ben Gurion Airport looks like a complete total ghost town. It's not about the Iranians have all the time in the world. And that's how they viewed us in Iraq. You got to remember, the IRJC was in and around Iraq, messing around with us when we were over there. They were happy to take their time. We're Americans. We're in a rush to accomplish everything. We got to do this now. The Iranians have a completely different sense of time than we do. So, the Iranians, they can just keep poking here, poke there, and just gradually destroy things. Watch them fall apart.
100%.
You don't have to get
brilliantly really well said, Harry, because people don't understand how politicians in general, the world, or at least governance and statecraft, is as far as it's concerned, they're not like you and I. Someone takes a shot at us, we're just like, okay, we're going to come back with, fists blazing and throw everything we have at them, They're responsible for a lot. Let's just say they act right away, okay? I kid about, Iran responding right away. I just like to poke fun.
Yeah,
but
it's fun.
It's a smart thing to do. You're giving them... Their strategy just may very well be death by 1,000 cuts against Israel, and you just slowly, because you can't beat Israel and America combined. You could maybe wait for the right opportunity for when America finds itself unable to support Israel because of having to deal with domestic issues and other issues like Russia and Ukraine, etc. They may have to just give them a slight jab. So the politically prudent policies, because if it fails, right, if they do something a little too much and they receive the full wrath of the United States government helping Israel, Well, guess what? Now you're having to answer to your people about political. You're destabilized. Your government's destabilized now. You're now because there's already political turmoil that's happening within Iran. There's a lot of people who are secularists who want Iran to be a secular country, and they don't want any problems with Israel. They want Iran and Israel to have normalized relations, all kinds of different stuff. So those people can come into power. So now you've didn't wait for the best political time, and you acted too quickly, and that set yourself that set yourself up for a lot of problems domestically, at least with your own population, because now
very true.
Many of your critical infrastructure is decimated because of airstrikes that the United States had to do to assist Israel. Not a good look, right? Makes you look weak. And
I also want to add one more thing that does not get said enough. And people are going to say, oh, what? You're defending the Saudis and the Jordanians? Well, Jordan's basically a puppet government at this point, but always has been. But I want to say this one more point because it gets lost in the comment section all the time. And it gets lost in general discussions about why don't the other Muslim countries do more? And we just, for some reason, keep forgetting. And largely because Israel has never admitted to this publicly, but we all know it's true. They stole our nuclear technology, and they have been illegally developing a nuclear program for well over 30, 40 years. It's estimated they have somewhere between 200 and 300 nuclear warheads.
Yeah.
They can't say that because under U.S. law, if they admit to having an illegal nuclear weapons program, they will lose funding from us and military support. Okay? That's under U.S. law. So people need to understand that the Middle Eastern countries, we might not like them, but one thing that I do sympathize with them on is they are dealing with a psychotic, increasingly religiously fanatical nuclear armed porcupine. Like everything that they've been projecting about Iran being these religious extremists with a nuclear bomb. Yeah, boy, that's some serious projection. Yeah. That's a very classic Freudian projection, because it really and the governments could do more. Like Saudi Arabia could do more to cut off oil supplies. Turkey could definitely do more. Erdogan has definitely been slacking. But nevertheless, regardless of how you feel about these governments, a single, small, so-called tactical nuclear weapon could be seriously devastating for a country that is largely desert and has limited infrastructure. Like Egypt. Egypt is a country with an infrastructure that's designed to support 60 million people. There are almost 100 million people in Egypt right now. They are beyond capacity. If Egypt goes directly to war with a nuclear-armed porcupine, we're talking about tens of millions of people dead. Possibly, very possibly. So it's better for Israel to slowly die and go away.
Yeah.
And let them all slowly migrate back to Brooklyn or to Argentina with the other Nazis.
Their true home country.
Collapse on their own. Yeah, over 5 to 10 years. It's a 5 to 10 year game is where the Iranians probably see it.
Yeah,
dang,
absolutely.
That's a nice observation. I haven't heard that one yet.
As we wrap things up, Sheikh, do you have any final thoughts on Instagrammer, influencer, Brittany Renner seemingly becoming Muslim? She hasn't publicly said it, but she's dressing now in a wardrobe.
Haven't heard about that. I don't know who Brittany Renner is. And sorry,
cover your eyes, you shit. Don't look.
I've been missing out on this thing. I didn't know.
Don't look at her shit.
I have no idea.
Who's Brittany Renner and what's happening?
I have contractual obligations.
She's wearing hijab, though.
Yeah, she's become Muslim.
Oh, really? So who is he?
Who's he?
Who's she?
This was a woman.
Sorry,
that
I was thinking about the boxer, the Algerian boxer for a second. Sorry.
This is the woman that was on Pearl Davies' show a lot.
On what?
Just pearly things. Pearl Davies is the Brad Con influencer.
Yeah, just
Brittany Reiner was on her show a lot.
Oh, she was. Okay.
Yeah, Brittany Reiner has been an Instagram model, really beautiful woman actually, who's been on a lot of talk shows, kind of going against the Myron Gaines, going against the Pearl Davies, like the kind of red pill people. She's been usually brought on the show as a counterbalance to the conversation of the red pill folks. So
Oh.
it's interesting to see that she
But is
became
she a
Muslim.
feminist or no?
She was more like blue pilled. I wouldn't say like full on. She's definitely not a butch lesbian feminist, no. But she was tradcon. She was anti tradcon. She was more like modern woman kind of thing.
Huh.
And she was an Instagram model, very beautiful woman. And she.
Is it possible
it's
she's
really
just,
interesting that
is
she became Muslim.
Is it possible she's trolling everyone? Because she hasn't put any posts there saying that I became Muslim. She just came out with this new post where she's wearing the abaya and saying this is my new wardrobe, blah blah blah. Like it's gonna affect my It's just like a thing.
A psyop.
Is this some
No, I have no idea.
way to get some celebrity or something? It could be. It could be we could be being taken for a ride because if Harry's saying is true, she's some anti-tradcon type person, she maybe just be trolling everyone.
Oh, I don't think she's trolling everyone. I mean, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, just like I gave Andrew and Sneeko, and just as I give myself. You know, 5 years ago when I became Muslim, I wasn't on social media like I am now.
Yeah.
But I had people accusing me of grifting too. I said, "Oh, you're just doing this because you want a submissive wife. Oh, you're just doing this because you want to do business in Indonesia with the moose plus lambs." You know, I had all kinds of people accusing me of stuff like that. So that's just always what happens when you do something like that publicly. You just always going to get static going through the door. So I hope Allah will guide her. May Allah guide her. I did see one comment from a Muslim who used to be on social media, but you don't see him much anymore. I'm friends with him on Facebook. Will Cooley, smart guy, fellow redneck from Tennessee of all places. Will Cooley, who is revert Muslim too, made a good point, which is, did she convert to Islam, or did she convert to blue-pilled feminist Islam that says women have rights too? That's a good question, Will. I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah. Well, best of luck to Brittany. We hope.
Exactly.
We pray that you are guided and you don't become part of the Madkhali Salafi crowd. You know, that's always I do. That's a lot of these new guys, these influencers, they get pulled in by that crowd. Speaking of which,
they do.
That guy Bolson, he was telling the Bengali protesters to stand down.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, it's just gonna end bad, and looks like it worked out, huh? Revolution works. Revolution does work. Except in the Middle East. It can be pretty bad, messy. See Syria, that blew up in our face.
You should invite him on the show again, bro.
In general, viva la
I don't think
resistance.
you've ever had Shahid Balsan on the show.
No. We tried to, but he was a bit shy. He said,
I tried to have him on my show too, and I was actually in correspondence with him for a little bit, and he's also shy.
Yeah. So I think it's because of his criminal record and stuff. He doesn't want to talk about it. He's very careful about engaging with other platforms because he's worried that they're going to bring up his past, which we weren't. We're just going to discuss ideas. But yeah.
I don't care about his past. Like, why is this like?
Well, it's a very. I mean, bro, he got convicted of murder, so. I think people care a little bit.
I don't care.
But it was still like if you want to look it up, you guys. I'm not gonna go through his past, but he talks about it. But it looks really sketchy. Let's put it that way. I'm not gonna put any other insinuations, innuendo in there, but you guys can read it out yourself. But Shad King Bolson in Google.
Someone?
It's a bit weirder than that. Let's say he wanted to meet a friend, but the friend died. He met a friend online. Friend shows up to his house.
Well,
I don't know why you would invite another guy to your house. You meet him online and say, "Hey, come over," and then he ends up dying.
Wow, this got dark
And
real fast.
then his body got stuffed in a suitcase.
Dang.
Yeah.
This got dark real fast.
Yeah. That's a really scary story, man.
Yeah, but I know what Harry's saying. Look, once you become Muslim, you're past.
No, he was Muslim. He was Muslim at that point.
Oh, he was okay.
That's
Converted.
plot twist part 2.
Yeah. Bichara. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean,
Bichara.
he's free now. He's a
that's
free
actually
man.
not what I was saying. That he's Muslim now, so it doesn't matter. What I'm saying
Harry
is,
squeezed the story out of me, so
what I'm saying is, whenever people say, "Oh, so and so murdered somebody," I'm like, okay, murder's pretty serious, though. Why did they murder that person? And sometimes I'm not saying it's right to murder people, just like Bill Burr's saying you should never hit a lady. But to say that there's no reason, well, come on now, kids. Sometimes there's a valid reason to murder somebody.
If somebody breaks in your house, they're trying to murder you. You murder
your
them.
house.
Yeah,
Somebody's
exactly.
banging your wife while you were away on a business trip. That's kind of understandable. So it's like, I'm not saying he was right to murder someone, but he had a reason.
Yeah.
You don't just invite your friend over to his house to murder him for no reason.
like, why would you become friends with someone online through a friend service? Invite him over to your house, then he ends up dying.
Wow.
Like that, and then you stuff his body in a suitcase. Like, wouldn't you want to call the ambulance? Right.
So he got Khashoggi done.
But why would you even like meet a friend, a male friend
get it,
online?
bro. I get it.
I don't understand. I don't, Chef. I don't understand. Help me out.
Yeah, bro.
Maybe I'm
here,
too
man?
innocent.
What is this?
I don't understand.
Israelis
these
like
things.
to sodomize people, and the Saudis like to cut people up and stuff them in suitcases. What's this stuff? Why do people have these weird MOs, man? Yeah.
It's all new to me.
People
I'm new to the
pricking
21st century, yes, Chef.
It's new to you.
Help me make sense of this.
There's no making sense of any of this right now, bro. This is my just got dark real fast, right? I actually didn't want to know any of this right now. That's so weird.
Straight up, yeah.
Anyways, yeah, bro.
Stepmom, yeah.
You remember that
It's very
thing that
Jeffrey
he did
Dahmer
with
or
Ali
Buffalo
Dawah,
Bill.
where he accused Ali Dawah of stealing a bunch of money or embezzling a bunch of money in his bank account?
Ali Dawah? Ali Dawah? Port
Yeah, he
Mesquite?
accused Ali Dawah of having a bunch of money in his bank account.
Who did?
Like,
Oh, that Bolson.
Shahid.
whatever.
Shahid Bolson like publicly
Yeah.
accused him of, you, Ali Dawah, have like a huge posh bank account and you're making a bunch of money off of this. And I was like,
Well,
Really?
I know some of the British people who know Ali Dawah. I promise you he's not a millionaire.
Yeah.
he's not a millionaire. Goodness,
he's struggling,
no.
just like every one of us.
Yeah, so it was weird that he got accused of that randomly like that. It was very strange.
All right, brothers and sisters, we got Maghrib time here. Thank you
Yes,
so much,
sir.
Harry, for chiming in early morning Indonesia. Wake up Indonesia time. Is that a program over there, like on Voice
Good
of
morning,
Oh, they got
Indonesia.
Wake up
annoying,
Indonesia?
perky morning shows like everybody else. You
Yeah.
know?
Good
They're
morning.
white people now. They're just like white people. They're so proud of themselves. They're just like white people now.
It's perfect. Yeah, his time is actually like the exact opposite of ours. It's like
12 hours, right?
It's like he's on the opposite side of the world,
Yeah.
standing in the
I
same
am.
spot. Like if we started digging right now, Sheikh, we could reach Harry's house.
Glory is a beautiful place, man.
You could. I'm 12 hours in the future. I'm in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, folks, please make sure, please, pretty please, just all you wonderful human beings in the chat who've been chatting it away, please just throw a comment in the comment section below, not in the chat. That doesn't help us. In the comment section, make sure you hit the like. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to do that. We'll see y'all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum, ninjas. Y'all take care now.
I want their leader brought here. I want him
brother.
brought to me.
We'll
I want
see
the
you.
revolution
Are we
crushed.
offline?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta talk to
Oh,
you guys about something real quick.
hang on.
Make